Unohana says her final words to Kenpachi, saying that he did a good job and that they have finally have proper closure. Kenpachi didn't really wanted their fight to end so quickly, so he was actually pretty. He didn't want Unohana to die. He was pretty sad about that. Well, he did admire Unohana, so I wouldn't be surprised. Unohana's final thoughts were that he can finally become stronger, be able to face his opponents, that he wouldn't have the enjoyment of having an epic battle, and that according to her, he can finally have a relationship with his partner. Hint, hint. Unohana entrusts Kenpachi with her legacy, and she dies. May she rest in peace. But then Kenpachi hears a voice calling him. There was a voice of someone or something that has kept an eye on him from the very beginning. We cut back to the Phoenix Palace. Apparently Ichigo and Renji have been fighting for 3 days and 3 nights straight, non-stop. Same thing for Kenpachi and Unohana, apparently. Now, apparently their training is done. Renji managed to beat the Asachi, so he is going to get Zabimaru reforged. However, Ichigo, and this is surprising, Ichigo lost. He got his ass kicked by Asachi, and because of that, he doesn't get Zangetsu reforged, and he gets kicked out of Soul Society by Nimaya. Apparently, according to him, the Asachi has deemed Ichigo unworthy because he has never used his Asachi, never used an Asachi before. Although it's not surprising considering his Asachi was kind of destroyed the first time he fought against Renji and Byakuya. I never honestly expected Ichigo to get kicked out. I mean, seriously, in every training arc he's ever been in, he had always succeeded. And seeing him fail for the first time was kind of surprising. But then again, what Nimai meant by going back to his roots, I'm not sure, but it looks like he probably has to start from the beginning. How is that going to happen? I'm not really sure. But back to the Kenpachi fight. Well, Unohana has officially died. But, you know, now Kenpachi has unleashed his full power, and that voice he heard was his Zanpakuto, and I was like, yay! But it kind of got me conflicted because on the one hand, Kenpachi can finally learn the name of his Zanpakuto, obtain Shikai, maybe even Bankai. That would be freaking awesome. And hopefully it would look pretty awesome himself. He would be unstoppable. But on the other hand, Kenpachi, what made Kenpachi was the fact that he didn't know the name of his Zanpakuto, but he was able to fight and go all out with just using his sword, his bare hands, and his immense power, which now has grown even more. So if he learned the name of his Zanpakuto, would that not make him the Kenpachi that we know? Would that make him like more of? Would that not make him would that not make Kenpachi, the Kenpachi that we knew and read for quite a while? If you know what I mean? But, despite me being conflicted by this, I really do want to know the name of that Zanpakuto and what it can really do. But I don't mind knowing his name. It would actually look interesting. And where did Ichigo go when Nimai kicked him out of Soul Society? And what's going to happen with Zangetsu? Does this mean that he's going to have to train with his new Quincy powers? I mean, is he going to get a bow and arrow too? Is he going to get Leicester Steel, dual standing? He already has the blood vein, so I actually wouldn't be surprised by this. I would be disappointed, but yeah, it's just me. So Ichigo is back in Karakura Town with his in his human body, even though he has no idea how he got back into his human body in the first place. But then he started thinking about his father Ishin, and he doesn't want to confront him. So he goes to his boss Ikumi. Ikumi being the kind yet tough character that she is, comforts Ichigo and gives him a couple of words. Ikumi says that it's okay to rely on other people every once in a while, on their superiors, of course. We do get a little spat between the two, something, comedic moment on behalf of Kubo, and then we get to see Ishin in his Shinigami form. So Ichigo decides to leave, but he leaves his Shinigami badge with Ikumi by accident, I'm assuming. Meanwhile, with Ishin and Ichigo, he apparently knew about everything that was going on in Soul Society. From Squad Zero showing up, to the Vandenreich invasion, to Ichigo getting kicked out. And he decides that he will finally tell him Ishin's backstory and how he met Misaki. Now the chapter doesn't end without giving us a brief little flashback of seeing Ishin injured and meeting Misaki for the first time, and it has been confirmed that Misaki is in fact a Quincy. Finally, we get the Ishin backstory. Finally. Now, the flashback does begin with Misaki and Ishin meeting for the first time, and according to the flashback, Ishin is a captain. From what squad? I don't know, but it's definitely not Squad Zero, that's for sure. There were rumors that Ishin was a member of Squad Zero. Now, of course, we finally get confirmation that Misaki is a Quincy, so okay, we get it now. So that would make Ichigo not a human, but more like a half Shinigami, half Quincy. Now there are still some questions, like what squad was Ishin in? I mean, why did Ishin leave Soul Society? But I guess from what it looks like, from what has been leading up to, it looks like that he probably left because he fell in love with a Quincy, and Shinigami Quincy do not mix apparently. The surprising thing we do learn about in this flashback was that Kurosaki was not Ishin's surname, but is actually Misaki's. So what is Ishin's last name? And why would he keep it a secret and give his children their last name instead? Maybe it was out of respect for, after her death. Which also is another question. We'll probably, hopefully learn why Ishin and Misaki never used their powers ever since their children were born. I mean, we knew that Ishin knew everything was going on ever since the very first chapter, yet he never used his Shinigami powers, not even once. Only the first time was when he faced against Grand Fisher when he became an Arankar. Now, it was said that according to the chapters, it was said that Ishin learned the final Getsuga Tensho from Engetsu. What caused him to learn this? I mean, what was the threat? We're not sure. But since it was Engetsu, the final Getsuga Tensho, he probably lost his Shinigami powers before Ichigo was probably born or something, which would probably explain why he never used it once. Now, but my question is, Misaki, we know that she's a Quincy, yet we never seen her use her Quincy powers. If she was a Quincy, why couldn't she have used her Quincy powers when she and Ichigo were confronted by Grand Fisher? Then again, because if she was able to protect herself and Ichigo from Grand Fisher, maybe she would have survived. Maybe things would have been a lot different throughout the story. So maybe she also lost her powers or something? We don't know what's going on, but I am definitely looking forward to the flashback for this flashback. Although I don't know why Ishin couldn't have told Ichigo, like after Aizen's defeat, or maybe after the Fullbring arc, or during, or maybe before the Fullbring arc, maybe during the 17-month time skip. I mean, okay, back at the Phoenix Palace, Nimaya said that he was able to pinpoint the location of the Asachi. Apparently, Kenpachi stole his Zanpakuto. It wasn't technically his. He stole it from a corpse. Huh. That would probably explain why he has it when he was a kid. Now, the only one that he couldn't sense was, surprise, surprise, Ichigo's, and I guess the only way that he would get his sword reforged is to go back and learn where his roots lie. Now, back at the flashback, we learn that Ishin was a former captain of Squad 10, with Rangiku as the lieutenant and Toshiro as the third seat. Now, back then, Ishin did act like the way he does, goofy, kind of a pervert, and a bit lazy and slacking off at times. But when it comes to serious stuff, he gets right into it. Now, we actually learn that Ishin was a member of the Shiba clan, even though he's from a lesser branch. But the Shiba clan was very prestigious, just like the Kuchiki clan and the Shioin clan. At the squad headquarters, Toshiro tells Ishin that Shinigami who were appointed at not in Karakura town but in Narukishi, another city, they were killed, and then the same thing happened again. So Ishin decides to go to Narukishi and to find the culprit and to investigate what's going on. Matsumoto, Rangiku wanted to accompany him, but Toshiro says to let him go because, he's the captain and he doesn't need any help. But near the end of the chapter, we cut to an under secret headquarters where we see Genichimaru and Kadame Tosen talking to Sosuke Aizen. Surprise, surprise. And they've just recently begun their holification experiments. And it looks like they're targeting Shinji and the rest of the Vizards. And it ends with him saying, everything is proceeding accordingly. Again, this flashback has provided more surprises. Ishin being a member of the Shiba clan? That would actually explain why Kaien looks a lot like Ichigo except with black hair. And it would also explain what Kukaku mentioned about her so-called uncle. She was probably referring to Ishin. Now, and it actually would make sense why Ishin left Soul Society. Because he's a member of a really rich clan, the Shiba clan, and he fell in love with the Quincy, and this would conflict not only the Gote 13, but also from his clan, because Shinigami Quincy is a no-no. But what I don't understand is that Rangiku and Toshiro knew Ishin, and yet there was no development or evidence towards this from the previous chapters. We never actually seen Rangiku or Toshiro mentioning anything about him or seeing them meeting again for so long. Hell, they never even mentioned it to Ichigo. They knew who his father was and they never mentioned it, not even once. I mean, he does have the right to know. And I guess since Ishin's last name is Shiba, I guess Ichigo's full name would be Ichigo Kurosaki Shiba or Ichigo Shiba Kurosaki. I like the second one. Now, I'm guessing from these incidents that was going on in the town Narukishi is probably from the flashback of the previous chapter where he meets Misaki for the first time. And according to these events, it looks like that this is taking place before the turn the pendulum arc. Because if this was during, then we would have seen Ishin in the turn the pendulum arc, but which we haven't. But again, I can't help but get the feeling that Aizen probably had something to do with Ishin leaving Soul Society. I know this was before Shinji and the others became Vizards, but again, he says that damn line, everything is proceeding accordingly. I wouldn't be surprised if he had something to do with it, because he knows everything and plans everything. I'm just gonna be really annoyed because, just like Gigak said, he has the foresight of a fucking Time Lord. But all in all, I like this flashback. Hopefully we'll get to, speed up a little bit more and learn more about Ishin and Misaki. I actually am wondering if he has some sort of connection with his relationship with Ryuken probably had something to do with Misaki being a Quincy, but I guess we won't know until the next couple chapters. Okay, so that is all the Bleach chapters that I have missed. I didn't go into full detail in all of them because I wanted to briefly explain my thoughts and opinions of the chapter and chapters of and what's happened. And I guess with that down, all that's left, with one down, only 3 more to go. So I'm gonna Spiral 27, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.